Hey guys, I just want to take a few minutes today, come on and share a few things with you. We are in the 222 Humanity Code upgrades again today, which means that the energy on the earth is shifted. It seems to be shifting in a very rapid pace and on a daily basis. And I think that we can expect this, as I've said many times before, the last at least 6 months to a year, that this isn't going to stop anytime soon. It's just going to continue to speed up. So it's really important for us to focus on our thoughts and our emotions and make sure that we are now managing both of those processes. Because if we're not, and we are allowing our consciousness to be someplace else, then the stream of thoughts that are coming through are going to be managed by another consciousness, another aspect. So I wanted to just share something that happened this morning as I was heading home from the gym. I only just started going back to the gym a few days ago, and being outside in an environment where there's a lot of people, the gym represents very divine masculine energy. And so it's a, place where there's not a whole lot of balance. A lot of the energy is very masculine energy, not because there's men there, but because when you go to the gym, you're doing more weight training, which is physical. And for me, with processing all the energy that I've been streaming through my body as part of what I agreed to, what I soul contracted to, it just helps me, helps me move the energy through my body and do the work that I need to do, as a transformational alchemist, as a healer, as an intuitive. And I haven't been to the gym in about 2 years, so it was time to get back, and my body was calling me, and I was getting visions about it, and then notifications were showing up in my mailbox from different gyms. And I was like, all right, I get it. So in my experience of going back, something interesting happened this morning that just really showed me how we are unconsciously manifesting a thought process and then creating an emotion to marry to it. And then both of those can go into hyperdrive. And for those of you that really know me, you know that I'm normally a very balanced individual, and I don't have those crazy, chaotic thoughts running through my head, because for the most part, I do a good job managing them. But today was a little different. So I just want to share this with you because it was an aha moment for me. And then obviously lent itself to this now teaching moment where I can show you how thoughts can get the better of us. And then we create things like illness and, distortions, attracting people that we're not really interested in having a relationship with, but because our energy is not in alignment with, a higher placement, right? We want to be in a higher stream of consciousness, and sometimes we can't figure out how to get there. And it's mostly because what's happening is our thoughts and our emotions are running away from us. So in my experience this morning coming home from the gym, there were a lot of crazy drivers on the road. No judgment, but it was a little chaotic, a little scary. This guy driving a tractor trailer, making a right-hand turn as onto the street that I was going to go straight, made that turn at like full speed. And I thought to myself, wow, if he lost control for just a second or sneezed for just a second in that turn because he was literally flying full speed, that could have been serious. And his truck, this big 18-wheeler, was like pointed in my direction as he was coming around the turn, which then started the thoughts in my head going in that direction. And then I saw as the light turned and we were going straight, the car in front of me actually had to step on their brake because there was a car coming out from the left-hand side out of a 7-Eleven onto the road in front of them, jumping where there was no space, just jumped out in front of them. And then I saw that that was going to happen because I saw that timeline presenting itself. But the driver that was in front of me didn't have that awareness. And then I felt like in their annoyance, they started to pick up speed on the road, and then they hit a plastic bag. But from my perspective, I couldn't see that it was a plastic bag, and it looked like a little white animal or something. And then from all of that action, right, from all of this buildup, the tractor trailer, the car jumping out in front, the person in front of me then going into full speed ahead and hitting that plastic bag that I couldn't tell what it was, looked like I said, a little white cat or something like that. And then suddenly my thoughts were starting to get away from me without my awareness. And the next thing I knew, that plastic bag, and I had no idea what it was, soon became a small cat. And now somehow or another, that small cat was lodged in under their car, which it wasn't, right? But this is where my mind was going because I was not in control of my thoughts. And another opportunity, another consciousness presented itself, which was going to now take that story to a level I would never take it to, right? And suddenly I found myself thinking, oh my God, that person hit a cat. I didn't see the cat bounce off to the side of the road. It must be stuck under the car. Stuff I would never normally think about. But because the energy was already flowing and I had just come out of a very heavy energy environment, I was still carrying that heavy, divine masculine, the patriarchal energy with me. And now suddenly I'm finding myself having these thoughts of speeding up alongside of this person to kind of tell them that they hit something. And before I knew it, I was going faster in my car until all of a sudden my higher self kicked in and was like, excuse me, but what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, there's no animal. That was a plastic bag. You know that. And I was like, oh my goodness. Wow. 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 My thoughts went from 0 to not even 60, but to 360, right around in a circle. And I was certain that there was some animal that was injured, right? Because I was not managing my thoughts in that moment. And what that did was that showed me how we have the ability to go from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. And if we're not in our awareness on a regular minute by minute basis, we're perpetuating these thoughts that are in the negative, because let's face it, it's easy to go there, right? Because that energy is denser. We've been playing in it our whole lives. It feels more comfortable when you're in it because it takes work to put that ego in check and leave it on the sidelines and just keep going. And so as I was unpacking all of this new information, my team, my higher self, me, because it all feels like me, was showing me in a play out in my third eye and in a timeline sort of way, how that could have been so much different, that could have ended so much different or been a different situation because it was perpetuated by the thoughts that I was having that I normally don't have. But if I was not in awareness and connecting into my higher self all the time, I might have actually allowed those thoughts to manifest more and then take over my day, right? And so then I started to realize if I allowed those thoughts to take over my day and I have work today, then what's going to show up with me for my client sessions, right? And that really made me very much aware of how we're manifesting the thought process, these streaming thoughts that we're having on a daily basis. So the other part of this that came through is then the awareness that if we're manifesting these thoughts and we're not in awareness of what we're creating, that is certainly a negative, dense thought, right? To think that an animal was hit, that the person didn't stop, and, feeling lost because I was not able to either save the animal or stop the person, right? And that never even happened. But that's where the mind goes, right? The ego takes you there to kind of trip you up and keep you stuck. I could have manifested a really bad day the rest of my day because I was tripped up on those thoughts that were presenting that were not even real, right? But it was a distortion that was playing out. And this is how it is for every one of us, for all of us, right? So when you find yourself going into fear, it's because something has entered your field, right? Whatever that experience is. In this case, it was a plastic bag that, potentially looked like a white little cat or something. And so how many times are you experiencing something during the day, then letting your thoughts run away with it and manifesting something so much more? And before you know it, you're in a state of depression, or you are now feeling sad or have anxiety or something like that, right? And are not in control anymore because you're trying to manage the depression or the anxiety or the fear or whatever is taking place in your reality. And then you go to sleep at night feeling that same way. And instead of slowing the momentum of your thoughts or slowing or shutting them down and refocusing yourself, you take all of that into your sleep state with you from your day. And then when you're in sleep state, because you've taken all of this information with you, you go right into the astral plane. And because the thoughts that you've held during the day are so heavy and so dense, then you find yourself working in the lower spectrum of the astral plane, because the astral plane has many levels or layers to it. And then you wake up in the morning feeling that same depressed feeling or anxiety or sadness or grief or whatever it is, right? Or anger, because you haven't cleared your field. You haven't cleared your thoughts, and you haven't shifted your emotional body. And this is what happens. This is how we can get ourselves into trouble when we're not paying attention to everything that is presenting in our reality, right? I do this work every day. I'm in this work every day. I'm in this work even when I'm not in the work. I'm in this work in sleep state, right? And my work is changing, and I'm noticing it changing, and I'm noticing that there is a lot of unrest and a lot more activity in the lower astral realm that needs to be cleaned up now, which is part of the new work that I'm doing at this time. And so that unrest, though, is created by our lack of awareness as to how our thoughts and emotions are going to be created through an experience that we had. So I really want you all to pay attention to your thoughts and see where they're headed, right? And just monitor them. And if you have a hard time doing that, then set the timer on your phone or whatever device you have around you to give you a pop-up, right? A reminder every hour. And in that reminder, you can put down that it pops up and you're having a breath check of your thoughts, right? However you want to read it, or write it out. Mine says alignment time, right? Alignment. Are you in alignment? How are your thoughts? Are your thoughts getting the best of you? Are you running the lower negative story? Are you staying in a higher vibrational state of being where we can manifest, literally materialize whatever it is that we're wanting, right? So that's a really great tool. Another really great tool for you is to, when you're in bed at night before you go to sleep, ask that the momentum of your thoughts be slowed down, right? That's from a long time ago from Esther Hicks from Abraham, right? I learned that a long time ago. Um, and so the advice was to get in bed, and before you start to fall asleep, ask that the momentum of your thoughts slow so that you're shifting your consciousness out of your day process and into your sleep process so your soul can go off and do its work on the other side. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, that's where you're dreaming and your soul leaves your body because it's going to do its spiritual work. That's all explained in my dreams class, which you can find on my website, mariadc.com, if you'd like more information on how that process works. But in the meantime, certainly these tools are powerful tools, right? I use them all the time. And so I know that they work, but this is how we are engaging in our day-to-day experience. And because the energy is so fast, as I said at the beginning of this video, it's taking us from 0 to 60 so quickly. It's a matter of seconds. And I saw that today, right? Because I'm not always out and about a lot, and I only just started going back to the gym, and the energy there has a tendency to be a little heavy. And like I said, it's not so much the people or, that it's filled with men. It has to do with the fact that the type of working out is more physical in nature, right? It's muscle building, more physical in nature than maybe something like yoga, which focuses more inward and is more aligned with tuning in and connecting to the body. The weight training at the gym is, a completely different animal. But I need that cardio. So the gym was a better choice for me to go to. And right now, yoga does not resonate with me, although I do love it and I use it in certain instances, right? I think it's very important for you to choose what resonates with you so that you can maximize your experience, whatever that is. So this is my understanding of what's taking place energetically. I wanted to bring this to your awareness too, just in case you're having experiences where you're finding yourself slipping backwards into a negative state of being and you are having a difficult time navigating that. Be very present with your thoughts and don't let another consciousness slip in and take over your thought process, right? That is so easy to do, especially if something happens and we're in a lower, denser field that we're having to deal with, whether it's at work, at the gym, the grocery store, no matter where that is, right? We could experience that anywhere. So very, very important for you to have this awareness because it also creates illness in the body when our thoughts and our emotions are not in alignment for our highest good. So that's how we are also creating illness. And if you're wanting more information on that, I have a class coming up on Monday, the 24th. You can also check on that on my website under events. But, this is how it works. This is the truth in how we are getting sick, how we are not doing a good job in managing our thoughts and our emotions, and they continue to create the same patterns over and over, which then disrupt our energetic field and eventually come through the etheric layer right into our physical body, and boom, before you know it, we have an illness, right? And so I wanted to just leave you with that. I didn't want to do too long a video today, so I think I'm going to end it here. But hopefully this resonated with you in some way, shape, or form. And if you do nothing else, use those two tools, right? The mindset timer on your phone and schedule that every hour is just a pop-up reminder for you to realign you to thinking a higher thought about, where your mind is going, where your thoughts are going. And then at night, use that process that will bring you back to a place of mindfulness before you go to sleep. This way you can do a better job of navigating the astral plane as your body, as your spiritual body is needing to exit the physical body to go and do its work. All right. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy 222. I know I haven't been writing a whole lot on that stuff. It's just that the work is changing now and I'm more focused in the healing process of our bodies and amplifying the light body process. So I hope you'll bear with me as I'm going through this shift and this new processing myself. Know that I love you very much. Have an amazing day. Love you. Bye-bye.